Okay, so today we are continuing to work on our vehicle grid drawing. So if you do need these sheets, I'll have those available if you're still finishing drawing. Once you finish drawing your vehicle, you're going to erase the grid that's going over here. And I just usually, when I erase, I kind of erase one little line at a time so that you can take your pencil and fix it so you're not erasing all of it. And then you're going to add your background here. And then I'm going to show you some colored pencil techniques today as well. So today we will learn about space so that I can draw a background behind the vehicle in the foreground. So right now my vehicle is in the foreground, that's our main subject, and then here's my background, okay, which is going to be your little city or town that you're going to drive past. So I still need to do a building here, here, and here, but I kind of divided up the spaces. And then my little storefront, I've got a door, I've got some window boxes, I have some details there. You don't have to go as detailed as mine. If you look at this one, they have like rectangles or little L shapes to show where windows are. So it could be very simple like that. Or if you want to do something like this and like what I've done, making them a little more detailed, that's completely up to you, okay? So your foreground's your vehicle, the background would be like your city, okay? So once you get your paper back, if you need one of these sheets, you can get those and finish up. I know most of you have already finished. And then once again, just remember you're going to erase those grids, lines before you move on to anything else, okay? I'm going to pretend for a moment that I have my background already drawn, but you want to do that all with pencil first, okay? The next thing is you're going to get your pouch of colored pencils. There should be 2 of every color in here. If not, if some people, when they turn it in, they find a pencil or 2 on the floor. So check the little blue tray, and that's where I'm having them put the extra pencils, so you can find it really easily. So, but there should be 2 of every color in here. And I grabbed the colors that I'm going to be using today on my vehicle. My little bug is going to be a blue bug, but I'm going to be showing you a colored pencil technique, and it's all about layering colors, and it will take a while. So that's why I don't expect you to finish, obviously, today. So I'm just going to work right here in this section, and I may fast forward some of this a little bit, but I usually start off with choosing my main color. So my vehicle is a blue vehicle, so I choose a blue, and then I'm going to be coloring over this whole section in with my blue colored pencil, okay? I want you to notice I'm not pressing super hard, and I'm not scribbling it really fast. I want to try to avoid any kind of like marks where you can see like the direction of my lines, okay? And I'm going a little bit faster maybe than I would normally do it, just because I'm for the sake of the time. But you can kind of get the idea. I may eventually just work in one little section at a time. So I've colored this in, and it's really light. Notice that compared to this. This is how I started off all of that. Then I'll take my lightest color. This is where the highlight's going to be, and I'm going to go over that. This time I'm pressing a lot harder. I can kind of see where it's smudging a bit, but it's very, very difficult to see. But I can kind of see it. It's kind of blending some of my blue. And I'm just going to do this just at the top where it kind of curves, so that when I eventually, like I did here, I'm going to have that be like the shiny part of my vehicle. So I'm just going to go around there. Since I can't see it great, I'm just going to go over it another time just to make sure I got that pretty good, okay? Then I have violet and orange, okay? So I'm going to go with the orange first, and you may wonder why orange. Well, orange is blue's complement, so they're crossed on the color wheel, and I do that whenever I do shadows because I feel like it makes a really, really rich, nice shadow. So I'm just going to use some orange just kind of around this bottom part. And it's really important that when you do this, that you're not pressing hard. One thing with colored pencils is if you press really, really hard, you're going to get like a waxy finish, and then that waxy finish won't allow you to add more color to it. So the lighter or the medium pressure is fine. That's gonna you're gonna be able to layer on top of that. But once you press really, really hard, it's much harder. So you can kind of see I did like the shaded all around here, kind of around my wheel base here, and then down right in there, okay? And then I'm gonna do the similar idea with this violet. I'm gonna go over the orange. So I'm completely going over the orange, pressing medium pressure, okay? And then I'm gonna go out a little bit farther with the violet. The violet's not as drastic, so it will work great, okay? So you kind of choose something that's like right next to your color choice in the rainbow, okay? Also, don't be afraid to turn your paper. You can totally turn your paper to make it work for you. So it makes it easier for you to shade. That's totally fine. You don't always have to have it facing one direction. And then once again, notice I'm just working in small little spaces, strokes, if you will. And then I'm taking that violet a little bit past where I used the blue. And then I like to turn my paper around so I get a nice clean edge right in there. So, doesn't look a whole like that, but it will eventually, okay? Now I go back to my blue. So my blue I started with, then I added my highlight of my white, and I did my shadow, which is complements of the orange, and then I did a little bit of violet over it. Now I'm gonna go over the whole thing with blue again. This time, I'm pressing a medium hard pressure, not so hard that I get my waxy finish, but a lot harder than what I did before. So it's gonna fill in the space more. It's not gonna be as dark as some of my finished areas, but it's definitely going to be, I'm not gonna be doing it too hard over the white, just so you know. But I am pressing a lot harder than what I did on the other parts, okay? So it's starting to build up. It's starting light. Okay, I'm pressing a little harder here. So it's starting to build up the color, so it's looking more the way I want it to be in the finished product. Okay, so I'm just coloring it in there, and some of you may think, wow, Mrs. K, this is taking forever. And colored pencil does when you're blending the colors like this. So all I want you to do is I want you to try our essential question is, did you explore art making techniques and approaches? So we are exploring using complementary colors. We're exploring using this colored pencil method, which some of you may have done this before, but some of you, this is the first time you've ever done that. With the mixing of the colors and colored pencil. And it's starting to really pop a little bit more. So I've gone through my process a couple times. I'm gonna go back in here with my white, and then I can go back in with my blue this time. I'm kind of cleaning up the edges a little bit more. And I'm pressing pretty hard right now. Not so hard that I'm gonna break my pencil or anything, but hard enough that I'm really focusing. And you might even notice too, before when I was coloring, I'm coloring like in a larger space. This time I'm kind of taking mine and doing much, much smaller little motions with my colored pencil. Okay, and you can go into that white area a little bit. I wouldn't cross it too much. And then going back in here, and I could probably push my little orange section a little bit more so that it's a little more darker like I did in those other areas, but this is giving you that idea, and I'm good with this. So keeping my coloring into a little smaller little section so I have more control over what I'm doing, and not being afraid to turn my paper around and keep coloring it in, okay? So it's starting to turn out a little more the way I want it, okay? And then you keep doing this whole process until you finish your vehicle. And then I would, because this back part goes a little bit faster, if you wanted to color your door orange, just color it a solid orange. You don't have to use a different color mixing techniques for that. So we're finishing up our vehicle, our background today. And then we're gonna start the colored pencil. And remember, I just want you just trying this method. It can be scary for some people when you add a color that you don't think of as naturally part of it, but I do feel like it makes it much richer. So when I did this, remember the first thing I did, I started off with my main color, which is blue, and I just colored kind of medium light. Then I took my white, highlighted the areas I wanted to be highlighted. Then I took my complementary color, so it's opposite on the color wheel, and kind of went around where I wanted it to be shadowed, the darker areas. And then I took my violet over that shadow and then slightly past it. And then remember, I went back to the blue and back to the white at the end. So at the end, I really just focused on my two main colors, blue and white, preferably mostly blue, to kind of overlap everything. So light pressure to medium pressure, and then at the very end, that harder pressure. You don't want to do that hard pressure too early on. So have fun with it. If you have any questions, just see me and I'll help you out. One thing I've had people do is if they do start too hard right away, especially over the highlights, one little helpful hint is don't use this yucky pink eraser, but use the white eraser in your bin and kind of, if you erase some of that blue, okay, it might take off that shiny glossy effect, and then you can go back into it with your white. So that's just something you can do if you went a little too hard pressure at the beginning, okay? Have fun.